my name's Becky Safe. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at ways that you can clean up a muddy mix. Words like this are used to describe your mix, and you may have heard other words like harsh, boxy, boomy, but in today's video, we're going to look at the muddy range. So typically it's between 200 and 400 hertz, although this isn't a definite rule. You can go either side of this. I personally like to think of my muddy frequencies as anywhere between 100 and 400 hertz. When we use the term muddy to describe a mix, what's happening is in that range, there is a buildup of frequencies, and what they're doing is they're overlapping and masking other frequency bands in your music. So it can make it really congested and unclear, and it particularly masks the clarity of your sub-frequencies. So addressing the muddy issues in your track is going to really help to open up the clarity of your sub. This muddy range is in the lower mids of the track, and it's sitting quite nicely next to the boomy range. So you may hear those words being used interchangeably to describe a kind of congested, clogged up feeling in your track. I've purposely made a track that I'm working on more muddy just for the demonstration purpose of this video, and all of the different things that could be contributing to your muddy mix, we're going to address those issues. The timestamps are below in the description, so you can skip to your favorite section, and if you are feeling this video, please consider subscribing, liking and commenting. Thanks. All right, let's jump into Ableton and into this track that I've purposely made muddy. Let's just have a quick listen to it. So there's a lot of congestion in that low end, and the clarity of the mix is definitely not there, and it's actually masking the drums. Whatever this problem is, I can't really hear the drums through the mix. So in order to find which tracks are causing these problems, go through and start muting your individual tracks and then listen to see when the track actually becomes more clear. Because what we're aiming for is that clarity, and whatever is masking the clarity of the track is what we need to address. So let's play the track, listen for the clarity, and mute individual groups to see when that clarity comes about. So already by muting the entire bass group, the track feels a lot more clear. I'm just going to have a go at muting the pads as well, because I want to see if that is affecting it. Yeah, so it's those two together. So you can see there that when the bass is muted, the pads and the drums work well with each other. And then when the pads are muted, the bass and the drums are working better with each other. But I feel like there's problems in both the bass and in the pads. So let's address the pads first. I'm going to come into the pads group. At the moment, there's just a glue compressor on here. And on the individual tracks, there's no processing. So these pads are filling the entire frequency range. And we don't really need them in the low end, the very low end of our track. So the first thing that you can do to clean up a muddy mix is high pass instruments that do not belong in that low range. And the pads really have no purpose at all in the sub frequencies. So go ahead and high pass instruments that do not belong in the low end of your track. So I'm going to stick an EQ8 on here and high pass anywhere between 100 to 200 hertz. You don't want to go too far, because then you're going to create a hole in your mix. It's going to sound quite hollow. You still want to maintain some of that fullness in the low mids, but you just don't want it to dominate using instruments that you purposely don't need to have there. So it's about using your ears to see what works for you, what works for your track. So let's have a listen to this track as a whole, and we'll move the high pass filter to where we feel it is helping, but not removing too much. So I'm going to go around 200 hertz for the pads on this track because I can hear that the bass is actually taking up a lot of that low mid space. And then go ahead and search for other tracks in your project that do not have a purpose in the low end. High pass them, but just make sure you don't do it too much, otherwise you will end up with a hollow piece of music. We want to maintain the fullness. And then sticking on the same principle of high passing tracks that do not belong in the lower frequencies, we also need to check our sends and returns. Remember, sends and returns, often you're using reverbs and delays, and these are time-based, so they're bouncing around in the stereo image. And if we take a look at the bass, we can see here on the bass group, this is being sent to return channel A. And if we open up return channel A, this is a reverb. On here, I have Valhalla Room. It is a full wet mix. And so we're sending the entire bass group, including the sub, to a full wet reverb on the return channel, which is not cool. Because what's happening here is the reverb is bouncing around in the room, but it's also bouncing around in the low end. And so this congestion of frequencies is also coming from the return channel. So when you're sending from a group to a return channel, jump to your return channel and let's grab an EQ8 and we'll drag and drop this onto our Valhalla Room. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with the atmospheres or the pads, and we're going to create a high pass filter. Attenuate to taste. I generally like to go a little bit higher with my reverb on my return channels because I'm going to have a lot of insert effects within the project as well. So the return channels, for me personally, are just little embellishment and finishing touches. So I'm going to go a little bit higher and let's have a listen. So I just whacked the reverb up there on the bass channel so that you could hear what the EQ8 was doing when it was being bypassed and when it was active. And I'm sure you can hear that it starts to really clean up the mix when you're high passing your effects on your return channel, especially if you're sending a bass to the return channel. Tip number 3 to fix your muddy mix is to do an EQ cut. Now, this can either be done on a group, a problematic group on a track, or it can be done on the master channel as well. So we're going to jump to the master channel because the muddiness is coming from various different places in this track. So let's go on to the master, and I'm going to grab Pro Q3 this time. And what we're going to do is we're going to sweep through the frequency bands. We're going to audition between that range of 100 to 400, 200 to 400, so that we can hear where this muddy, problematic frequency lies, and then we're going to cut that band. In order to do this, you're going to create a boost and drag across, and then when we find it, we're going to cut, and you'll hear how this really opens up the mix. I can really hear that there's a lot of muddiness around 191 hertz around that area. So I'm going to cut that down, and then let's hear what it sounds like with and without the cut. Generally around a 2 to 3 dB cut will work, and I'm sure you can hear there that by cutting at that point it's 214 hertz. In that muddy range, we are opening up the mix. You can hear the sub frequencies a lot more. It's just creating a lot more clarity in our track. You could go one step further with this and make it dynamic, which is the benefit of Pro Q3. So right click and make dynamic. And then what it's going to do is it's going to respond to the muddy frequencies in the track when they come about. And by making it dynamic, you are maintaining the fullness in the low mids, whilst also removing the muddiness when it comes about. Tip number 4 is to do some mid-side processing. I do have a tutorial on mid-side EQ using Pro Q3 if you want to check that out. In order to address the muddiness of a track, we will use mid-side EQ to harness and focus our lower frequencies in mono and maintain the stereo frequencies in the side in the higher bands of the track. I'm going to go onto the bass. Let's grab Pro Q3. And here we have Pro Q3. At the moment, it has a high pass slightly on the sub frequencies in the stereo image. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up to around, let's just go to 200. And then we're going to right click stereo placement and we're going to make that side. So it's high passing on the side frequencies. And now everything here is in the mono image. So let's listen to this bass with and without the Pro Q3 and have a listen to see if it cleans up the mix. So I've gone a little bit higher in the muddy range, closer towards the 400 Hertz with the sideband. Remember, we're not actually cutting any of the lower frequencies by doing a sideband. We're just harnessing and maintaining the focus of the sides in 319 Hertz and above. So we're not reducing the fullness of the mix, we're just controlling the stereo image. And that could potentially be contributing to the muddiness. And finally, tip number 5, I'm not going to show you in the video, I'm just going to explain it to you, which is to focus on your arrangement. Arrangement is really the number one base level way to get a clean mix. If you already decide in your head what instruments are going to sit in which band, then you're already on your way to a clean mix. For example, if you have a mid-range bass and you want that to fill your low mids and your mids, then you wouldn't start whacking in loads of pads and effects and instruments that also fill that space. So just have in your mind when you're making your music what instruments are going to sit where and how they're going to complement each other. And then if you do run into any issues of muddiness, you can use the aforementioned, I never use that word, aforementioned tips mentioned in this video. And that is just some of the ways that you can clean up a muddy mix so that you can especially get clarity out of your sub frequencies and just generally open up the clarity of your track. My name's Becky Safe. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you got something out of it, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. Also check out all the relevant social medias below: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, etc. I would love to see you on there. And until then, I will see you next week for another video. Bye!